The media seems to lose its mind at the slightest sign of common sense, and Karoline Leavitt is giving them a full-on meltdown. As Trump's press secretary, she's not just answering questions. She's flipping the script and burning through their tired old narratives. In no time at all, Karoline has made it crystal clear she's not here to play along with their spin. When reporters throw out the same predictable talking points, she doesn't back down. She fires back with facts so sharp, they leave everyone stunned. Today we're breaking down her latest mic drop moments, and believe us, you'll be hooked from the very first clapback to the last.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
The chaos really started when the Associated Press flat out refused to recognize the name Gulf of America, insisting on sticking with Gulf of Mexico. Their excuse? It's been called that for over 400 years, and international organizations haven't approved any change. It's a classic example of so-called independent journalism being stubborn and unwilling to adapt. But the drama didn't end there. Things escalated even more when a CNN reporter dropped a bombshell question that took everything to a whole new level.
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that, Google has recognized that, pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America, and it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world.
They refused because, let's be real, they're not acting like journalists anymore, they're acting like activists wearing press badges. After the White House pulled their access, the AP's executive editor fired off a dramatic letter to the chief of staff, claiming the move was clearly meant to punish the AP for what they reported, and that they'd fiercely defend their constitutional rights and the public's right to independent news. But come on, that's classic gaslighting. The public still has access to their news, though let's be honest, most people aren't turning to the AP anymore because of how obviously biased they've become. So please, spare us the victim act and maybe start doing real journalism again. Now let's talk about the reporter who seriously didn't even know that crossing the border illegally is actually a crime.
The 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You made it going with the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you.
This kind of clear, no-nonsense approach is exactly why illegal border crossings have dropped by 90% since Trump returned to office. Just ask the New York Post. But don't expect the mainstream media to give him, or his administration, even a hint of credit. Funny how everything changes when you make it absolutely clear that illegal crossings won't be allowed, and the law will actually be enforced. The flood suddenly slows to a trickle. And it's not just the reporters feeling the heat from Karoline. She came out swinging against the left too, calling out their dramatic and over-the-top political theater during the anti-dog protests.
May I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Exactly, you saw it, the nonstop meltdowns from left-wing lawmakers were on another level. But let's be honest, if even half of those comments had come from someone on the right, there would be demands for life sentences. Drop a like if you're tired of the double standards. What's even crazier is that most of them didn't even talk about the actual waste. They were too busy obsessing over Elon Musk and Doge. And then came the real bombshell. Karoline called out Politico, and what she exposed left everyone completely stunned.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's book.
Let's set the record straight. No, Politico didn't directly pocket $8.2 million, but that money did come through subscriptions to its Pro plan, a high-priced premium service offering policy coverage and analysis. Not every dollar came from USAID, but the funds were spread across several federal agencies. Politico tried to be slick about it, putting out a statement claiming, "We have never received any government funding. No subsidies, no grants, no handouts." Technically that might be true, but let's not pretend it isn't still taxpayer money ending up in their accounts. Some reports say a single Pro subscription can cost anywhere from $122 to a shocking $15,000 per year. Now do the math, how many government employees had to sign up for the total to pass $8 million? And to top it all off, we saw Karoline absolutely school reporters in real time while chaos erupted around her, and no one could even hear their own questions over the shouting.
A common sense approach.
The president said he worked on extending the Abraham Accords. Mr. Whitcomb, the president said he wants to...
Yeah, thank you. Can you direct traffic? Yeah, thanks.
Let's act like adults here. They are generously offering their time to answer your questions. You don't need to scream at them like a bunch of school children. Ouija, go ahead.
Thank you.
Her impact goes far beyond the briefing room. She wrapped up her very first press briefing by taking some perfectly aimed shots at Joe Biden, and it was absolutely electrifying to watch.
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly how you handle the mainstream media. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these moments was your favorite? Drop it in the comments below. And if you think your friends need to see Karoline's epic takedown, make sure to share this video with them.